this comment is specifically regarding the bias policing audit that was on the agenda, and I think it's going to get discussed at some later point, but I'm going to talk about it now. So I tried reading the report, but it was very hard to get through. It was very frustrating. Sometimes when I see an audit that has been done on a particular aspect of the LAPD, I still get encouraged and think, oh good, they're going to dig into this issue. But as usual, this audit was not focused on the actual issue, but it was focused on surface procedure, and more focused on that than actually getting to the true problem going on with the bias policing reports and what's going on there and why they continue to go unsustained or unfounded. And we've heard you explain why that happens, because the burden of proof is so high, there has to be overwhelming evidence against an officer for a complaint to be sustained, but maybe that's the point that you need to look at. Why is a complaint process for the public to protect the public from bias policing, which we all know is an issue? We know that that's an issue. Why is it so heavily weighted in favor of the police that complaints go completely unsustained? Hundreds of them since 2011. Thousands of them by this point. And then you tell us how implicit bias is very hard to prove because you can't know what is going on in the mind of an officer, but you still manage to rule a portion of those complaints as being unfounded or false. But by what you've already said, by your own explanation, you don't know what's going on in the mind of an officer, so how can these be false? How can you know that they were not biased? That doesn't make sense. They should all be unfounded, or you should get a better system. Shane Goldsmith, I heard you compliment the LAPD on their implicit bias training, but I'm wondering if you're familiar with the Inspector General's report about that training and how officers who have been in the LAPD longer were resistant to the training, so they had to completely reframe it to make it more palatable to them. And they asked officers not to question implicit bias in themselves, but to look for it in other people, which is actually pretty different, the message that you're giving there. There's also no measure of how effective that training is. So I'm wondering if you knew all that when you gave the compliment to the LAPD about that training.
Speaker, please.
Adam Smith.
I'm wondering when we're going to hear you start speaking out about
Followed by
these
the Red
issues.
Chief.
Liberty Hill has a commissioner training program that you promote. Is this what you model for them?
Mr. Smith?